Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.
It's Jenny.
What?
You think she's the ghost?
Well, don't you see? She died here under tragic circumstances, and now she's trapped.
But what about the gun? I mean, Angel didn't shoot Miss Calendar.
The gun is insignificant. It's the violence of the thing that matters.
I don't know. These fights these couples keep having, it's sort of specific.
She's right. It's a pattern that doesn't fit with the way Miss Calendar died.
I appreciate your thoughts on the matter. In fact, I encourage you to always challenge me when you feel it's appropriate. You should never be cowed by authority. Except, of course, in this instance, when I'm clearly right and you were clearly wrong.
Everybody, welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We are just two boys watching every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time ever, giving our reactions, giving our reviews. We're your hosts. I am Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're talking about Season 2, Episode 19, I Only Have Eyes for You. Directed by James Whitmore Jr., written by Marty Noxon. Original air date, April 28th, 1998, to an audience of 5.06 million people. This was like a long gap between the last episode and this one. The last episode's original air date was March 3rd, and this one's April 28th. So I don't know what happened. That could explain the kind of like audience slide there. I lost like over 1 million viewers, but
are we watching these on the same timeline or just like this like years later? Like
yeah maybe. Yeah. But this is an episode.
It's an episode, all right. What did we predict for this one?
I have no clue.
Oh, we said it was something. I think I dug down back on Spike and Drusilla.
Yeah, you might have said something like, I went completely out of left field. I think somebody was going blind. That's what I predicted.
Yeah.
Was way off with that one.
Yeah. And I was kind of right. Yeah.
Yeah, you had a little bit of
I thought it wasn't the major storyline, but it's in there.
Yeah. I'll give you a good 75%.
Yeah. If I kept saying it, eventually it was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's only 3 more episodes left in this season, I think.
Yeah. All right. Shall we get into the episode here, Vance? Or do we have any announcements at the top of this?
No, let's just do it. Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. So we open up at the Bronze, and Xander is dancing with Cordelia. Willow's looking all around the dance floor, just like a weird dope or something. I guess they couldn't hire Seth Green for this episode for some reason.
I initially thought they were all on bronze lookout duty.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I was like, oh, this is what I would do if I was at a nightclub with this stalker killer vampire. I would be like, okay, we're gonna post up and watch, because that's kind of what she was doing in the pilot.
Yeah.
Remember, she was at the catwalk with Giles, and they were talking about like, hey, can you spot vampires? And she's like, no, I can spot fashion.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense to do lookout at the Bronze, like more so than the graveyard.
Yeah.
This is where every tragedy in this town happens.
Yeah.
But no, they're all just kind of hanging out, and Buffy's up at the catwalk, and some guy named Ben approaches her, and he's like, hey, you know about that Sadie Hawkins dance that's tomorrow? Buffy's like, oh, yeah, you mean the one where the girl is supposed to ask the guy to the dance? Just in case nobody knew what a Sadie Hawkins dance was, I like that. He was like, yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool if you asked me to the Sadie Hawkins dance. And she's like, oh, no. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm not into it. I'm not dating anybody. I'm not into it. And Ben's like, oh, okay. He walks away.
This was just weird to begin with.
Yeah.
she's supposed to ask the guys out.
Mm-hmm.
What a guy thing to do, to ask her to ask him out. I was like, that doesn't work. And it kind of set the tone for this episode, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, and Ben wearing his Dockers. Meanwhile, we're cutting back and forth. I need Joe's fashion corner for really quick.
Okay, yeah.
The band that's playing, the guitarist, has a sweater on that makes him legit look like the fuzzy monster from the Halloween episode.
Yeah. I looked this band up. It's Splendid. I don't know Splendid, but that's the name of the band.
It looked like their name was like the Splendids or something.
Well, Splendid is the name of the actual band. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is a real band.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
did a little research. I did a little bit of research.
All right.
I know that the bands at the beginning of the bronze scenes are big for this show, so I wanted to know who it was.
I wonder if any of the bands that were at the beginning of these things like ever popped.
Chibo Mato, or
whatever.
Yeah,
I remember. Because I remember the OC, like part of their big thing was their soundtrack, and they had like the Shins on them. They had Phantom Planet and Rooney, and like some of those bands like actually took off pretty.
Oh no,
well.
this show's gonna have like real bands. I mean, we're on season 2, but yeah, as long as the bronze is around, we're gonna get some musical acts.
True.
I don't know Splendid, but I wanted to just say, hey, that's who they are.
Shout out Splendid. So then Buffy walks down the stairs, and Willow walks up to her, and she's like, you know what? I think I'm going to go home. I'm not really feeling it today at the bronze. And Willow's like, you know what? You've been all work, no play. Maybe you should, enjoy yourself. And she wants Buffy to go on the date with that guy, Ben. And, Buffy's like, no, I don't think I should really be doing that, because the last guy that I wanted to date turned into a insane vampire and starts killing all of my friends.
Yeah. I mean, that's a valid excuse. Like, oh, should I date this guy so Angel could just slit his throat? Like, what? And Willow's all of a sudden an expert on love.
Yeah, Willow's like you know what, Buffy, it doesn't need to be like that. Love can be nice.
Yeah, she's got a boyfriend once, and now she's like, oh, I know everything about relationships.
Yeah. And as soon as Willow says love can be nice, we cut to the school, and it's a woman crying and running away from a guy. And he's just like accosting this girl for dumping him. And she's like, I forget what the line is, but it's basically like, it's over. And then he's like, if it's really over, you have to say it again or something. And you can't just wake up one day and fall out of love with somebody. And she's like, no, I can't. Is that what you want me to say? Because then fine, it's done. I don't love you anymore. And then this dude pulls a gun on her, like a revolver, and I started cackling.
Dude, I was like, what the fuck is this?
I started laughing. I wrote in my notes, LOL, because I did laugh out loud.
It was... This scene happens a bunch throughout the episode, and every time it feels like a really cheap community theater play performance. Every time. Yeah.
It's like auditions for... we watched a couple of auditions for this role.
Yeah. They're just like, okay, you were in this, go. Yeah.
Yeah. Then the guy says something like, you can't run away because love is forever. And then the lady's like, I'm just going to walk away. And then the guy says, don't walk away from me, bitch.
Yeah, they play that line a lot. They do not shy away from that line.
No, they don't. And there's a janitor who apparently is in the room while this is happening, and he's seeing what's going on. And then Buffy shows up because the reason why she left the bronze, because she was like, I'm going to go to the library, see if Giles needs any help.
Okay, thanks for that. One of my notes was like, why is she at the school?
Yeah, when she was at the bronze, she tells Willow, like, I'm going to go back to the library and see if Giles needs any help or if he wants me to go on patrol or something.
Why leave the bronze,
right,
where Willow is in danger, to go to the library? Why would you even stay at the school after hours, Giles, after what happened? But whatever.
Yeah. So Buffy shows up. She saves the day. And then she kicks the gun away from the guy. And then the guy kind of like snaps out of stuff. And he's like, what's going on? What's happening? How did I get here? And then Buffy says, what's going on? You just went all OJ on your girlfriend.
Yeah. 90s, baby.
Oh my God. Even like with the scope of everything today, I was like, ooh, that's a spicy line there.
They love that line in the writer's room, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then the gun just magically disappears and vanishes.
Yeah. The guy doesn't know why they were fighting. The gun disappeared. And everyone's just kind of confused as to what's happening.
Yeah.
And then so the next day.
This is my favorite scene, probably, because it's so ridiculous.
The next day, we get a return of one of our favorite characters that we haven't seen in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Principal Snyder has Buffy in his principal's office. And he's accusing her of inciting the violence that happened. And Buffy's like, what are you talking about? I saved the girl. I kicked the gun out of the dude's hand. And he's like, nope, something's up with you. I know it. You did this somehow.
Yeah, he's like, there's no gun. No one seems to know what happened. Somehow this is your fault.
Yeah.
Buffy's like, what?
Yeah. And then he gets a call. I don't know what the call is about, but it's like his assistant is like, yeah, you take it.
I know what the call is about because I had to write this down. Someone's chained themselves to the vending machine again. And he goes, pathetic little low-life vegan.
Yeah. No, I think he says no neck. I think he says too.
I thought he said low life, but whatever. He's making fun of some vegan for chaining themselves to a vending machine or something. Mm-hmm. And he is just on one right now.
Yeah. And he's like, I'll be right there. And then Buffy starts to get up to leave. And he goes, no, you sit back down. You stink of lies. He's like, I'm not done with you yet.
I wonder why having someone that witnessed a student point a gun at someone takes less precedent over someone chained to a vending machine. They ain't going nowhere.
No.
Like, call it those students that had the gun and were fighting. Like, it's so wacky, man.
Yeah. So then Principal Snyder leaves to go deal with the vegan, and Buffy's sitting in his office alone, and then a book magically just falls from his shelf. It's a 1955 yearbook from Sunnydale. It just falls off the shelf. Buffy looks at it and she's like, that's weird. Just puts it back on the shelf.
Buffy's not about that reading, man.
No, dude. No one is.
She's like, put this book back on the shelf.
Yeah. So then Willow is teaching computer class.
What's going on? What's going on at Sunnydale, man? Like, if you're a parent walking down the hall, you're like, wait. Is that a student teaching?
I'm sorry, is that a 16-year-old teaching my 16 and 17 and 15-year-olds? What the hell's happening here?
And Willow's getting laughs.
Yeah, she says some kind of joke and she's killing, dude.
They forgot.
It was like a lame ass joke too. Oh yeah. Then Giles shows up and he's like, hey Willow, how's it going? And she's like, things are going great. I'm killing it as a teacher, dude. Like, do you hear me? Those kids fucking ate up my bits, dude. Yeah. And Giles is like, oh, that's good to know. And then she gets into like, I've been going through Miss Calendar's computer and I've been reading up on her techno-pagan stuff, and maybe I could find some stuff that'll help us. And I also found this rose quartz that she said was good for healing, and you know, I think that she would want you to have it. Then Giles has like a little, you know, reminiscing, sentimental piano music moment. He's like, oh, thank you. Well, this is lovely.
There's two things here. One, all these like charms and stuff that are supposed to protect you don't protect you in this world.
Yep.
Like, it really don't. Like the quartz, the cross on Buffy's neck, the scapulas later. None of this stuff protects anything. Like,
yeah.
Just keep here's a charm bracelet. You might as well like go to K Jeweler and just hand them something.
It's just like in real life, Vance. Yeah. All these people with their crystals and
I know.
You know what sucks is like I have a bunch of those like salt lamps in my place just because I think they look cool. They're nice, soft lighting. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people come to my place and they're like, oh, salt lamps, you like really? And I'm like, no, I don't believe in like the negative ion energy or whatever. It just looks cool.
Anyone who's ever met you should know that you're not into anything holistic.
No, I am very much not.
I do have a question for you right here, though.
Okay.
How is Miss Calendar's computer intact?
Yeah, because Angel busted it up. He lit it on fire. And...
He knocked it over. It burst into flames somehow. And then he burned stuff on it.
Maybe it's just the monitor. You know how like monitors still store information?
No, because it was both parts, I thought, they knocked over. Because the computer's sitting on top of the monitor's on top of the computer.
Yeah.
He broke the whole thing.
I'm thinking this is the roundabout way of saying he just broke the monitor because he's a dumb vampire and doesn't know how to work a computer.
Did the cops go, hey, someone broke into the school, destroyed her stuff, chased her through the hallway, and then moved her body to Giles? What did the cops think happened?
Yeah, there's zero investigation except from Willow, who is now knowing about stuff in techno-paganism.
Yeah, because I guess they didn't check the room. Like, all of her stuff is just still there.
I'm surprised they haven't found the floppy disk between the desks yet.
Yeah. I thought she was going to say, I found this disk when she
said
the
what
rose
I thought
quartz.
Too.
And he's like, I hate computers, so I'm not going to look at this.
Yeah. That's what I thought was going to happen too, but no, it's a necklace.
It's got to be like second to last episode or something.
Vance, another necklace.
Right?
Another necklace. They're going to need to use that rose quartz to like bring back her soul.
Should we go with it? I mean, I guess they did a bracelet before the first time.
Yo, do you think this is way, way, way down the line? Here's a prediction for you. Remember the robot demon that was in the computer? Mm-hmm. What if they use that kind of technology to get Jenny Calendar to be a robot in to help them?
Well, that would work if she was like a demon, but she's like a ghost now, if anything.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's not ghost in the machine. It was demon in the machine.
I don't know. They're going to use that necklace somehow.
I don't think she's coming. I don't think she's coming back.
Okay. So then we cut to Buffy, and she's in class, and she's in history class. They're talking about the New Deal. She's falling asleep. She's daydreaming. And in her daydream, she goes back in time, and she sees this student and teacher kind of like love affair going on. And the student's like grabbing her hand, and he's like, oh, I can't stop thinking about you. And Buffy's like viewing this, and she does this like look around like, so what? Wait, what?
That's my favorite Buffy thing is when she's confused and her like confused look trying to figure something out. It's such a funny face she makes every time.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But then she snaps back to reality. Oh, there goes. Back in present day, the teacher is still teaching, and he's writing something on the board. And what he's saying is completely different than what he's writing on the board, because what he's writing on the board is, don't walk away from me, bitch, in all capital letters. And he doesn't even realize it until the last second. And then he finishes writing it, turns around, everyone starts laughing, turns back to the, I was about to say cardboard, chalkboard. And he's like, oh, God, oh, what did I write? Oh, what's going on?
Oh, I just imagined like being 13 or something, being like a 13-year-old girl watching the show. And your parents are like, oh, sure, I'll watch an episode of Buffy with you. And this is the one that they first see. Because they go so hard on that bitch line.
Oh, yeah, they do. It
gets Don't walk away from me, bitch.
It gets better and better and better.
Oh, man, it's so much weird stuff happens in the school, man. It's just crazy.
Yeah. So then Buffy and Xander are discussing what happened, and Buffy's like, yeah, I had this vision, and, you know, the teacher wrote, don't walk away from me, bitch. Like, something's up. Like, something's not right today. And Xander's like, well, we do live in a Hellmouth, you know, That's kind of our MO here at
They're
Sunnydale.
so jaded at this point.
So then Xander opens his locker and a like dead hand reaches out, grabs him, starts pulling him in, slamming him into the locker. He's screaming. There's a group of probably 20 to 30 people in the hallway seeing this happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then it lets go of him. Buffy slams the locker, gives Xander a look like, shh, don't talk about it. But everyone in this hallway is looking at him.
Yeah, but
and no one says shit.
From their angle, it looks like a dude just was slamming himself against the locker. Like, they couldn't see the arm with the door open. They would be like, what the fuck is going on, obviously. But then at the same time, you would also be like, Buffy's just manhandling another dude. Right?
Yeah, but like, that can't be everyone that's in the hallway. There's got to be people oriented on the other side. You know what I mean?
If we can't see it, they don't exist.
All right, fair. So Buffy gives him the like, shh, don't bring it up. Then they go to reopen his locker. And I don't know if this is usually what's in Xander's locker, but there's like a doll on a noose and a beheaded like chicken toy that's on the noose as well. I don't know if that's like part of the ghost or if that's just like what Xander's got in there.
Yeah, I didn't pay much attention, but the production design of that probably is something worth posting. I'll probably put that on Instagram if it looks worthy. Because it was a lot of stuff happening in that locker. It was not just books.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like, so somebody brought up, one of our listeners talked about how we're not viewing it in the proper way because of the formatting.
Yeah.
Like it's zoomed in because it's not the original 4:3 or
well, we're
something,
seeing
right?
more of it than we need to. We're seeing more of the edges.
And I feel like some stuff got cut off when looking into his locker. That's what I'm thinking.
No, we would be seeing more.
Oh, okay. Well,
because
then never mind.
4:3 is like a square, and then like the 16:9 is like that longer rectangle angle. So like
Okay.
you would see more of the left and right of the screen.
No, but I'm saying I don't think that we're not getting the information that's on the above and below.
Oh yeah, we might be. Yeah, we're definitely missing the above and below. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think that there might have been something more below because it's cut off when they look into his locker, it's cut off very weirdly.
Yeah.
But anyway. So then the gang goes to the library. They discuss what happened. Willow makes a joke because Xander's shirt's all ripped up. And she's like, oh, would you and Cordelia have a really passionate one in the broom closet? And they're like, haha, not very funny.
Yeah, I don't like this Willow.
Yeah.
I don't like relationship Willow. She's got too much, like popular teacher Willow and relationship happy Willow. It's a little too much. Xander calls her out on it.
Yeah, so they're talking about what happened with Xander, and then Buffy's talking about what she saw in class. And then Giles gets like weirdly pumped because there's some like lame ass joke where Xander says something about, I got into a tussle with a locker monster. And then Giles is like, the Loch Ness monster?
Yeah, it's like, no,
no, dude.
Giles, you big nerd.
Yeah.
Like, also, the Loch Ness monster and Bigfoot, all these things are real.
Well, it's also like Loch Ness monster is in Loch Ness in Scotland or whatever.
Yeah, but I'm
right?
like, wait, this thing is real. Like, I would have some like random questions for Giles because he didn't flinch when you said werewolf. He was like,
oh yeah, he was jazzed,
and he just gets giddy about this stuff. I'm like, these things are going to kill you.
Yeah, no, he gets giddy about this one too.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, it's a poltergeist. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, haven't we had? No, I guess we didn't have a ghost. It was an invisible woman, but yeah.
Yeah. But, he explains what a poltergeist is, and they've got unfinished business, and we need to help them finish their business or whatever.
Yeah.
So then we cut to Sunnydale at night. The janitor from earlier, he's mopping up something, and a teacher, she's leaving the school because she had to stay late because whatever. And they're wishing each other good night, and then all of a sudden they get possessed by these ghosts, and they start to reenact the same scene from earlier with the student and the girlfriend, where they're reenacting this breakup scene. And, you don't just fall out of love in one day. And is that what you really need me to say? That I don't love you anymore? Then fine, I don't love it. And then the janitor pulls out a gun. Don't walk away from me, bitch. Giles overhears this. Mm-hmm. He overhears somebody saying something to him. And he thinks it's Jenny Calendar's ghost. Mm-hmm. And he starts to go out to investigate what's going on. He sees the janitor shoot Mrs. Frank. And Giles tackles him after the fact. We see the gun disappear. Mm-hmm. And the janitor wakes up and he's confused. He's like, what's going on? What happened? And Giles is like, you just killed a woman. Commercial break.
So, the actor playing the janitor is a famous actor, John Hawkes. It's John Hawkes. Oh, really? He was nominated for Academy Award for Winter's Bone. He's been in Lincoln. He was in this movie, The Sessions, with Helen Hunt. Like, I recognize his face. For some reason, I was getting him mixed up with the guy from Adaptation, Cooper something. But I have no. But yeah, John Hawkes is a legit actor. And I was like, okay. And when they do that, it feels it's such a play. It's such a play acting when him and the teacher do their like scenelit.
Yeah.
My biggest question here is the janitor under arrest for killing this woman?
He has to be.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, Sunnydale. Hellmouth.
Like, what? Like, this guy just goes to jail for that? I mean, it's no way in a court of law he's going to prove that a ghost took over his body and do it. But I think with information we find out later,
oh yeah,
some pardons could be brought down on this one.
Well, it's also there's no evidence aside from Giles seeing it. Giles is like, I saw him shoot this lady with a gun, but then the gun disappears. Like,
how is the magic gun real? Like, how?
I don't know. How does it affect the real world?
Yeah, that's what I was confused by. That's why I was like, is this woman dead from a gunshot or from just falling off of the stairwell flip? And that fall sound effect is so light.
Oh, yeah.
A body falling and hitting should sound, I think it should sound heavier than that because it happens like twice. And it's always like, doop.
Yeah, I mean, she falls off of a balcony onto stairs.
Yeah.
And is shot. So,
yeah.
That's dead weight.
And it's just like, the fall would kill you that way, like the way you fall. But like, is there a bullet inside, like an actual bullet fired from this magical gun?
Yeah, could they take a bullet out of Ms. Frank?
Yeah, or did it disappear? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's wild.
It just added something to it. I'm like, I don't know. I have a thing with people being falsely in prison. It's just like, especially someone in a lower ranking position like janitor at Sunnydale.
Yeah.
This poor guy.
Yeah.
Will have no recollection of doing this.
Well, I don't know. Well, yeah, this is the only time.
This is the only time people don't remember stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, because usually when they get possessed or something happens, like they remember every single thing that happened, but not this time.
Not this time. And yeah, this poor guy. Just his whole life's upended, and this is why I'm not on the ghost side. I'm Team Buffy the whole way on this.
Your team, the living.
I'm Team Buffy with this whole theme that they're trying to do at the end here.
So then we cut to a completely different thing that's going on. Angel's showing Drusilla their new hideout. They have this new like fancy garden hideout.
This felt shockingly out of place.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So he's showing her around. And he's like, this is a great place. This is my garden. You guys like this? And Drusilla's like, oh, love, it's so wonderful. It's lovely. And then Spike rolls up in his wheelchair and he's like, oh, yeah, this is great. There's all this sunlight and open air and windows for when the sun comes out to kill us. This is going to be great.
Yeah. Like, really, it's like an open air garden. I don't get. There's so many abandoned warehouses in Sunnydale.
And then Angel hits him with a couple of like disability puns. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, Spike, if you don't like it, why don't you hit the stairs? If you really don't like it, why don't you make a stand? And Spike is just sitting there like taking it all. And he's like, all right.
They went so heavy here that I knew what was going to happen at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, I know what's happening. Yeah.
And then Angel's like rubbing a flower on Drusilla's face, like taunting Spike. And Spike is still there, just like gritting his teeth. He's like, okay, all right.
And for me, Drusilla is more in the wrong than
Absolutely
Angel.
She is.
Like, what is she doing? She's just like letting this happen in front of him. I know she has like, you know, she's been tormented by him and it's like this abuser relationship thing. But like, she's given nothing to Spike. She's just letting Spike get shit on the whole time. And I'm like, hey.
Yeah, every time the Spike starts to like get an attitude about it, she's like, boys, stop fighting.
Yeah, I mean, she is being turned on. Like, he's grabbing her from behind and like,
yeah.
He might as well just be bending her over in front of him. She'd be like, Spike, you're overreacting.
Oh, my boys are fighting over me again. Just,
yeah. I don't know. This is, I'm on Spike's side here.
Yeah, so am I. I'm super stoked to see where this all goes because one of my predictions came true and like something that I was like, I'm looking forward to the day that this thing happens.
Yeah.
So then we cut back to Giles explain to the gang what happened with the janitor situation. And he's convinced that the ghost that's possessing all these people is Jenny Calendar. And he's all like, no, it's definitely Jenny Calendar because of the violent way that she was killed. She's reenacting violence. And the gang is like, I don't know about that, Giles. This doesn't make any sense. And he's like, you know, you can doubt me all you want. Usually I'm all for that type of stuff, but this time I'm absolutely right and you should not question me at all. And he like locks himself in his little library office.
Yeah, I like that he gave the caveat of like, I want you to question authority and hold me accountable for like not just follow statements blindly. And I was like, oh, that's all good information. But like in this one, I'm absolutely right though. Yeah, and I was like, it's a real stretch for this to be Jenny. Like, I don't even understand. I kind of understand why they wanted that, but it goes nowhere. And it's really a stretch for this to be Jenny.
Yes.
Why would Jenny ever have a gun to be shooting people? It doesn't like line up at all.
Well, I mean, that's why Buffy says after Giles locks himself in his office, she's like, I don't think Giles is really thinking straight, man. Like he's still wrapped up about this Jenny Calendar stuff. And, you know, understandably so.
I think there's a way to make this storyline a little closer where you could be like, oh, maybe it is. Like, we would obviously know it's not because of what we've seen, but it could be something where like I could see how he would mistake this. Him literally standing up from the desk and being like, Jenny? And then seeing a janitor shoot a lady. There's no connect there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He's just desperate to lead to confusion.
Yeah. I just feel like
to conclusions.
Yeah, I just feel like there was a way to like kind of make it a little more like make it happen in a computer lab. Make it have something to do with like something that they did once, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe a line that they say instead of like, don't walk away from me, bitch, or waking up in love.
Typical Jenny.
Yeah, typical Jenny.
Don't walk away from me, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be Jenny.
That's got to be Jenny. I know that. I know that angry yell anywhere.
But yeah, Buffy's talking about how like, Giles isn't thinking straight. And then she kind of blames herself. She's like, well, I can't really blame him. This is just another side effect of my mistakes and not killing Angel. And this is collateral damage. And Willow's like, well, all right, don't blame yourself. I'm going to look up shootings. Oh, look, I found the exact shooting that happened here with a student and a teacher having a love affair. And Buffy sees it and she's like, those are the people from my daydream that I saw when I was in history class.
I love they have full page spreads of those two.
Yeah.
They were the most popular people in school. The teacher and like the varsity letter jacket student.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, and did the yearbook photos happen before they killed him? Or the yearbook? Like, because I'm thinking if you're making a yearbook, you probably aren't putting the teacher and the student front and center.
Yeah,
a part of a murder-suicide.
The student that killed a teacher and then killed himself, they're going to have them in the yearbook.
Yeah, without like memoriams, just like straight up. Remember that time she was just sitting outside? Yeah.
But yeah, Buffy recognizes these two from the dream, and then starts going on like this rant about like, well, that guy that killed the teacher, I have no sympathy for this ghost. I want to kick his fucking ass because he's a scumbag dude and he killed this teacher and he doesn't have any understanding and he deserves to rot and all this stuff. And everyone's kind of looking at her like, Jesus, dude.
For me, it was like Willow was very siding with the murderer. He's like, well, you got to understand, love makes you do danger. I was like, geez, Willow. Like, we've seen her do this like last episode where she's like, Angel at least is thinking about you. I'm like, why is she always on the side of these like problematic guys?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm dating a werewolf now. So like, I have to be more understanding. Like, I don't know. It's just like, come on, Willow.
So then they talk about something about, I think Buffy says something like, I'm going to beat the ghost's ass and like spread its guts all over the place. And like, it's very this violent, graphic language that she's saying. And then Xander's like, all right, who's hungry?
Well, I mean, like, yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, keep the same energy for a teacher getting shot that you kept for Jenny Calendar. We've lost 2 teachers in like 3 days.
Yeah, dude.
Like, Willow, you just got another teaching job if you want it. So there's another classroom available. So then we cut to the lunch lady putting, there's hot dogs, there's spaghetti, and they're slopping it onto the... This is the most... I know we have a bunch of international listeners, but this is a pretty accurate portrayal of public school, high school lunches. Yeah. It just... Like, that tray full of hot dogs just... already prepared in the bun, like just that pasta, that big old tray of pasta. And I can't believe Cordelia was eating it. Me neither. Like, I was very surprised. And the way that they slop that spaghetti onto the plate, like it's like half off of it and like on the tray. They weren't even aiming for the plate. They were like, if it makes the tray, then it counts. Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. Because Cordelia, we saw in the episode, she has her special meals that she has in the back. Yeah, that she's losing like 0.8 ounces off of. Yeah. She's no way she's eating that slop. So she's going back to the lunch table with the gang, and she's like, "Do you guys hear about this Sadie Hawkins bullshit? What a bunch of bullshit. The girl has to ask the guy. The girl has to pay. We really need to get in front of this and nip this in the bud before this bullshit takes over." And then Xander's like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure some hairy feminist created it." And she's like, "Yeah, those people are evil." And just as she's talking about this and is pissed off, everything that they got for lunch turns into snakes. And then a snake bites Cordelia in the face. Like, every food item in this cafeteria is snakes now. And the students all start screaming, running out of the cafeteria. Principal Snyder walks in and sees this happening. And then the cops come, and animal control comes. Well, everything turns into snakes. And then everyone leaves. And, like, no, everyone's just like, "Oh, cool. All of our food turned into snakes." It's not, and then they're like, "Oh, no, there was, like, and, like, the animal control is trying to grab these snakes." Yeah. One thing I just thought about, why snakes? What do snakes have to do with this guy's relationship with the teacher? And that's the thing that never gets brought up. It never gets brought up, the wrongness of this teacher-student relationship. That was like, it was, everybody was involved in it. Like, I mean, it was consensual. It wasn't her prowling on him. I mean, she's the older one, so she's the predator, of course, but they were both like into it with each other. Yeah. That never gets talked about. No one goes, "Oh my God, a student with a teacher." Nothing ever gets talked about how that's wrong. Mm-hmm. Then I don't understand why snakes. I didn't understand that. That was the one thing where I was like, what does this have to do with anything? We get wasp later, and I'm like, what? Yeah. What are these powers? Yeah, I didn't understand that at all. It's like they're just throwing stuff out there.
They needed to heighten the drama. I was surprised when everybody was running out and Principal Snyder's walking in that he didn't grab Buffy as she's running out. Just be like, what did you do? Why is everything snakes?
I would have loved that if he grabbed her by the collar, like, what did you do?
Yeah. I know that you're up to this somehow.
You got a cousin that works at the pet shop that can magically turn food into snakes. Like, everybody's thing turned into snakes.
Yeah. And then the snakes are just slithering around all over the place. Yeah. And then even like escaping, like they're outside now and the animal control is getting the snakes.
It's insane. It's pure insanity.
And it doesn't disappear like the gun disappeared.
No.
Like, I don't understand it at all.
But then it leads to our big scene.
So then animal control's there. Principal Snyder's walking around outside. The crooked cop from like probably 15 episodes ago.
It would have been like episode 3 School Hard, I think, when we first saw him.
Yeah,
it was the Spike episode after he was invaded.
So that cop comes up to Snyder and he's like, what the hell's going on? What is this? And Snyder's like, everything turned into snakes. And he's like, well, what kind of excuse can we bring up for this? And he's like, I don't know. Maybe like there's some kind of something wrong with the sewage system or something. Yeah. And then people are
run by snakes in the sewer.
Yeah, right? So then like people are running by and Snyder is like, oh, sorry, everybody. It's like some kind of sewage system malfunction. Just don't worry about it. Everything's fine. So then the cop's like, things are getting worse, man. Like, what's going on here? And then Snyder turns to the cop and he goes, I'm sorry. We live on a Hellmouth. Dun, dun, dun. Snyder knows what's up with the Hellmouth.
And the cop says, we put you in charge because we thought you could handle this. If not, you're going to have to take it up with him, the mayor. Yeah. So we know this goes to the top.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying maybe that mayor can pardon that janitor.
Right? No, he won't.
He won't.
He's got to keep up appearances.
Obviously, a teacher getting shot in the school is like, fine. Snakes, they can't allow.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Teachers get shot in the school all the time, Vance.
Yeah.
That's how Principal Snyder got his job, because the old principal was eaten by hyena people.
Imagine showing up to that teacher's lounge and being like, oh, there's less of us here now.
Yeah.
Like at some point...
Where's Jenny Calendar?
Where's Jenny Calendar?
I took a vacation for a week. Where's Miss Frank? Where's Miss Calendar?
Wait, Willow's teaching now?
They were killed at the same time? No, these are two separate incidents that happened within a week or two of each other.
Oh my God. But yeah, that scene is... So we know that he knows that it's a Hellmouth, and the whole city knows about this. Which is very interesting.
This is very big conspiracy.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't wait for this to unravel.
I feel like this could be a whole nother show.
Yeah. Maybe this is what Angels is about.
About him like working with the government to stop the Hellmouth.
I don't know, man.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah. But so the cops threatening Principal Snyder with a comeuppance from the mayor.
Wait, I do want to just say this. How was he supposed to handle this?
I'm sure we'll find out later. Maybe he's like a wizard. He has kind of like a goblin-y face.
That's just his look, you know? He's that guy from Star Trek.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He has that look.
But he didn't seem to have any powers when vampires were coming in and trying to kill people. I feel like if any time you're going to use your powers, it's probably when your life's on the line.
Maybe he's also like a techno-pagan or something.
But so much bad stuff has happened since he's taken over. I mean, he hasn't been eaten yet. So.
True. So we have a scene where Willow is like, we got to do something about this ghost. Everything's going crazy. There's only one solution, and it's the final solution. And then Xander goes, nuke the school? And there's a beat, and he goes, I like that. And I started laughing. That was a great line.
I also think that wouldn't be that bad. All right, I still have to go back to the principal real quick.
Okay, yeah, please do.
It's because there's so much there. if he knows there's a Hellmouth, why is he so hell-bent on picking on Buffy? Does he not know that she's a Slayer, or does he know she's a Slayer and he doesn't like that?
Maybe he does know, and he's gonna. I don't know.
I know we're gonna find out. I know we're gonna find out.
Yeah,
but it's just one of those things.
What if we never do?
He just doesn't like the look.
Nowhere.
He just doesn't like the look of Buffy.
Yeah. I mean, he knows about the Hellmouth, so that means he knows about like supernatural stuff. He knows that there's probably vampires. He's got to be in the know about some.
He definitely
stuff.
knows about vampires for sure, and he has to know that Buffy is some kind of superhero.
Yeah.
But why not like just start teaming up with her and say, hey.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. Just like go up to her and be like, look, here's the information I've got. Mm-hmm. How are you connected to this? Because he is right. All the shit does happen, and it is connected to her somehow.
I mean, she can't help it. She goes to the hospital and she finds a ghost by accident. Like she can't do anything without stumbling across something.
But like the lack of information giving in the show, like Buffy with her mom, Principal Snyder with anyone else except for this cop, like people have to start talking to each other. If there's one thing this show really needs to, the lesson that's taught here is like we all need to communicate with each other.
Yeah, communication is key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then Xander wants to nuke the school. But instead that Willow's like, no, we have to exorcise this ghost. We need to do this and it'll get rid of the ghost. And Buffy goes on another rant about like, I'm going to kick this ghost's ass. I don't give a fuck. I'll beat the shit out of this guy. Doesn't deserve any of my sympathy or anything. And everyone's kind of looking at her again like, geez, you got some stuff that you got to work out here.
Well, is this the part where
no,
Cordelia, is that later? Okay.
Yeah, it's later.
I'm still on Buffy's side the whole way.
Yeah. So then the gang goes to school to exorcise the demon. They have a plan. They're going to light candles and they have to stand in this triangle and all this shit. And they go into the school at night and all the doors slam shut on them. And everyone's like, oh, shit. Then we go back to Drusilla and Angel and Spike for some reason at their new lair.
Yeah.
And Drusilla's like, oh, it's lovely. I'm gonna, in order to get away from the sunlight, I'll dig a hole and bury myself in the ground. And
nude, she said.
Well, no, she's like, and then Spike says something like, well, then it'll mess up your dress. And she's like, then I'll sleep naked like the animals. And then Angel's like, I like the sound of that.
No, it's like, what is going on? Like,
it's so crazy.
And yeah, I don't know, man.
And then so Angel's taunting Spike again. Drusilla has a vision that a gate has opened. Oh, a gate is open and then they're going to do something to the Slayer. And she's doing this weird dance. And then Angel does this thing where he's basically like, it looks like he's about to go down on Drusilla in front of Spike. And Drusilla's like in orgasmic ecstasy while he's doing this. And Spike's just watching it and he's like, all right. Okay, I see you.
Yeah,
okay.
This is where I wrote down Drew is more in the wrong right here. She is like welcoming these advances. Like it's not even like you could say, oh, Angel's being like a little bit like he's being aggressively flirtatious, but she's so like spacey that she doesn't get it. He's physically grabbing her.
Yeah.
Like
Angel
he's like
turns around,
eye humping her in front of him.
He like turns around, calls Spike special needs boy.
Yeah.
And it's like, geez, dude, this is getting embarrassing. Like, I mean, it's been embarrassing for Spike for a while.
But it's like there's so much aggression towards Spike to the point of like, just kill Spike already. Like, why are you
why do you have him around?
Like, I don't know. Like, what is this?
So back to the school, Willow runs into Giles while they're getting all ready to perform this exorcism. Giles is all panicked. He's all sweaty and shit. And he's like, what are you doing here?
He's like,
I was like, what are you doing here?
I just masturbate in school to pictures of Jenny Calendar all the time. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like someone was just shot in the school.
Yeah. But it turns out like Giles is like, I think I'm onto something. I'm close to contacting Jenny Calendar from the other side. And Willow's looking at him like, okay, Giles, okay. You do that. We're going to do this exorcism to get some of the evil stuff out of here, okay?
But what they're both doing sounds crazy.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can look at one and be like, okay, do your triangle thing.
Yeah, I'd be worried if I was Giles too, because if they're trying to exorcise whatever demon it is, and then he thinks it's Jenny Calendar, wouldn't that kind of run in opposition of his goals?
Yeah, that's why I say the whole Jenny Calendar thing seems forced into this. They're like, oh, we have to reference it. Giles should have a reaction. But Giles shouldn't be like, ooh, a poltergeist? Like, as soon as he says that, he could have been like Jenny or something. It just felt a little forced to me that he would.
I agree.
Yeah.
So then we go to Cordelia, who's in the bathroom, and she's pulling off the Band-Aid that's covering her snake bite. Buffy hears some oldies music playing, and then she sees the ghosts of, I think it's the boy's name is Jack, right? James, and then the teacher, I don't remember her name.
Newman, Miss Newman or something, maybe?
She sees them dancing in like a flashback. Xander walked into a room full of snakes. Buffy sees the guy ghost that was dancing with the teacher. He turns into like the undead zombie that was like grabbing Xander. Mm-hmm. Cordelia's face like cracks into 1,000 pieces from the snake bite.
Yeah, because earlier she's sitting on the typical back of the ambulance, and she's like, well, I'm just gonna have a scar. I wish it would have killed me, because like the snake obviously isn't poisonous, I guess. And I guess the only reason the snake bit her is so we could have this scene.
Yeah, I mean, even Xander walking into a room full of snakes again, like I don't.
Well, he's going back into the cafeteria, because I had to look this up, because she's like, hey, we need to do a triangle, so they all have to go to separate places to do this. So
he's in the cafeteria. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
He's in the cafeteria. He sits on a table, and I was like, wait, there's 4 different people. A triangle has 3 points, and I literally went back to be like, am I crazy? And on that little diagram that she showed, there's the triangle with the 3 stars, and then in the middle there's another star. So I was like, okay, because I was like, what kind of triangle is this?
Animal Control did a terrible job.
I also thought that too. I was like, wait, they just left?
They just left a whole buttload of snakes in that cafeteria.
And then I was like, I don't know. These snakes could have came back. Who knows? I don't know why it's snakes.
Yeah. Cordelia's face cracks into a bunch of pieces. She starts screaming. Willow's standing on a stairwell. Hands reach up from below and pull her under the floor, and she starts dragging her down through the floor.
We forgot about this. Before they get there, Willow has made all these scapulas. I don't know what that is. I didn't look it up.
Me neither.
It has some type of sulfur in it, and it's supposed to protect them from ghosts or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Does absolutely nothing. Does absolutely nothing.
That's true.
Like, she's being pulled down. She's got it around her neck. Cordelia has it. She's looking in a mirror. Her face morphs into something.
Yeah.
It does nothing. I don't even know why I don't know why.
Yeah, they made a big deal about it. And Cordelia's like, it stinks. It smells like sulfur.
And Giles like, oh, you use sulfur. Pretty good. Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, okay. I want to see this thing do something.
Well, I didn't know, because the scapula is like, your shoulder blade. And they kept saying that. I didn't know it had like a double meaning.
Well, he thought spatula. Xander thought it was, she was saying spatula for some reason.
Yeah. No, I'm saying scapula.
Yeah, I know. Scapula is a bone.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Scapula, ghost?
I have no idea. Are you searching for it right now?
Garment suspended from shoulders. Yeah, I have no idea. Okay. I just did a quick search.
We'll move on. Yeah. So Willow starts screaming as she's being pulled on the floor. Giles hears it and he saves her. Buffy has another vision of the past, and the ghost. She's basically like seeing exactly what happened with James shooting the the teacher, and then the ghost grabs her and turns into the undead person again. And he screams, "Get out!" Then everybody performs the exorcism.
Does he say get out?
He says "Get out" to Buffy. Then everybody's
That doesn't
performing
even
the
make sense.
exorcism.
That
It doesn't make sense at all. Dude.
Did he? Are you sure he said get out?
What else would he say? I'm pretty certain he said "Get out."
All right, because that doesn't make any sense. Or didn't he say help me or something? I don't know. I don't think
he says "help me" later on or something, I think.
Okay.
Or he says "I need you" or something.
Yeah, I remember "I need you" or something like that. I don't remember exactly the get out, but
this time he definitely. I'm pretty because I wrote it down in my notes.
Okay.
So the ghost tells her to get out. Then everybody starts doing the exorcism, which is only like 9 words. Everybody lights the candle, like, "Evil spirit be gone, and we only want good here." That's the extent of it.
I know, basically. And there's a moment when after Giles saves Willow, she's like, "Giles, I don't think it's Miss Calendar because she would never be this mean." And he's like, "Yeah,
you're right. You're right.
I thought she would shoot another teacher, but."
She never did like Miss Frank. That's all I'm saying.
But she would never drag you down to hell.
And
Willow.
she did not like the janitor either. So this is going to be a win-win for her.
He kept throwing away her notes that she had on her desk.
Yeah. So after they do the exorcism, they had a bunch of candles that they were holding. All the candles blow out. And then a swarm of wasps appears. And all of the doors are still closed, and then everybody meets up in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Buffy's like, "We got to get out of here." She runs to one of the locked doors. She busts that motherfucker down.
Dude, she kicked the shit out of that door. That was amazing. Like, all of it falls apart. I love that.
She like busts open the door, and then the glass in both of the doors shatters into like it was awesome.
And like pieces of the door break off that you wouldn't expect to break off. Like, it's kind of great.
So then everybody runs outside, and then they turn back around, and the wasps, the wasps have covered the entire school somehow.
And it's those like really bad digital like bee hornet wasp from that that dream episode where that kid was having a nightmare, and it looks so bad. It's like digital noise is covering the skull.
It looks terrible, dude. It's like television static covering the screen.
And I was like, and then it doesn't make any sense for what happens at the end where the ghost wants people to be there.
Right, dude, I don't know. That's why it didn't make sense that he screamed "Get out."
Yeah.
Like, so little of this plan. Like, so anyway, the gang goes back to Buffy's place. And they're debriefing about what's going on.
Yeah, why did they go back to Buffy's place?
I have no clue.
Giles is an adult who lives by himself.
Yep.
Buffy lives at her mom's house.
Yep. Where is Buffy's mom?
This was Buffy's house, right? It wasn't.
That's what I'm thinking.
The kitchen. Yeah,
it
the kitchen looked the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Where is her mom?
I don't know when.
So they're all debriefing about what happened, and Giles somebody comes up with the premise that like the ghost needs forgiveness for what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And Buffy's like, "Fuck that.
Yeah.
That ghost does not deserve forgiveness. He killed a teacher. I don't care if he was in love with her. I don't care what happened that led up to this. He shot that lady. He killed her. He's got to live with that shit. Fuck that."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "I don't want to forgive him." And then Giles just says something like, "Well, maybe it's not what you want, but it's what the ghost needs."
Yeah. And before
then Buffy is like, "Fuck that." She just dips.
Because before, like what she was saying, she's like, "Oh yeah, he has to live with that. He has to live with what he did." And then Xander goes, "But he's dead."
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm on Buffy's side. I'm like, oh, wait. So he killed her and killed himself. So now he gets a pass on what he did because he can't get forgiveness somehow. Like, I was like, what is the lesson? Like, this is like such a weirdly apologetic to the abuser killer episode. Like, I don't understand why nothing that they showed, because we see this scene so many times.
Yes.
And nothing in that scene do we see anything that seems redemptive to the guy that's doing it.
Yeah, you do, kind of.
What? When he feels sad and he shoots himself?
So when we see the full scene play out later on in the episode, it's not like he actually meant to shoot her.
It's a little bit of an accidental shooting.
It's an accidental shot. He was still waving a fucking gun around.
Here's my thing. He brought the gun there. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like he was accidentally there and he was like talking and she got scared and she backed up and she slipped and tripped over something, right?
Yeah.
He pulls out a gun and starts pointing it at a person because they didn't.
And screaming, "I'm not afraid to use it. Don't walk away from me, bitch."
And we're supposed to be like, oh, that poor guy. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that to me, it's like, I don't know. Like, and now he's killing people as a ghost.
Yeah.
Randomly. I don't know why this is happening today. Is it like, oh, the Sadie Hawkins dance is like when it happened. So now the ghost somehow magically is like having fun.
Also, Vance, we need to bring this up. So at the beginning of the episode, Ben asked Buffy to the Sadie Hawkins dance that's happening tomorrow. It is tomorrow when all of this exorcism shit's going on.
Yeah.
Where's the Sadie Hawkins dance? Did it get canceled? No one brings that up. No one says like, oh, because there's like been a double murder here that we canceled the Sadie Hawkins dance. They're just in the school. Nobody makes any mention of the Sadie Hawkins dance anymore. No one's asking anyone out. Like, Xander's not even asking Cordelia to the dance. Like, there's nothing. Chris Cordelia has to ask.
Oh, Cordelia. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, no, there's no girls asking guys. There's no other stuff like that happening.
Nope.
And I'm just like, I know what they want to do with the later stuff and the forgiveness, but I'm like, I'll say this. Do you think Angel deserves to be forgiven?
No, I mean, this isn't...
Exactly.
This isn't a 1-to-1 on this. Like,
but that's what they try to do.
I know. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And I don't think that they all look at Buffy like she's the worst person ever, that she doesn't want to forgive a ghost who just tried to kill all of them recently. Yeah. And then
tried to kill everyone in the cafeteria with snakes.
Yeah. Cordelia, your face is all scarred up. And Cordelia's like, over-identify much? And I'm like, God, she has the right to like feel that way. Like, I hate that they make her feel like she's the bad guy. She didn't shoot the teacher.
I know.
She didn't kill Jenny Callan. Like, she didn't do all this stuff. Like, she already feels bad enough for like letting Angel get away. But like, for her not being able to forgive, it's like, Giles, I saw you wield a flaming baseball bat and go ham on Angel. So like, you can't sit there and be like, he deserves forgiveness. I'm like, who is this? You Ripper? You say
that's the other thing. The other thing too is like, they don't see the full vision either. Like, Giles, I mean, Buffy hasn't seen the full...
They know nothing other than that there's two people from the 50s and this person got shot. They don't have any context.
Yeah, but I mean, Giles didn't even see...
Giles still thinks it's Jenny.
Like, the thing is, like, everybody's missing information. Like, Buffy at the beginning, when the first time this happens, she only sees the tail end of the guy waving the gun at her, at the girl. Giles only sees the tail end of the janitor shooting Ms. Frank.
Yeah.
Nobody sees this whole play act out in its entirety. Except for Buffy at the end when she has her like final vision of everything that actually happened. Yeah. Like, nobody has all this information. Like, why are they so quick to forgive this ghost?
That's what I don't get. Like, that drove me crazy. They made Buffy seem like she was just a heartless, soulless monster because she wanted to stop the ghost that was shooting a teacher.
Yeah.
Shooting another woman that they were in love with. Like,
this ghost that has tried to kill several, like, number one, the one teacher did die. Miss Frank got killed.
Yeah. A past teacher and a present teacher are now dead.
And who knows also if Buffy and Giles weren't there to stop the person, like it would have been shot. The janitor would have shot him, and then the janitor would have killed himself in the music room.
That's what was exactly about to happen. He was walking down that hallway and about to shoot himself in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, geez, I don't know. The ghost is wrong. The guy was wielding a gun, saying, "Don't walk away from me, bitch." There's no.
Yeah.
The gun accidentally went off, but he's not forgiven.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he would at least be in jail for manslaughter, you know?
Yeah. And yeah. All right. We still have to talk about this other.
I mean, we
nonsense.
still got quite a bit.
This other nonsense. Yeah. Sorry, but this gets me heated. I don't understand why they're all against Buffy right now. But
they are all against Buffy. Buffy's like, fuck all this. She walks into the kitchen and she hears the ghost say, "I need you."
I did not know the ghost could actually leave the school.
That's what I was thinking. I thought the ghost was confined to the school.
It's confined to the idea of a Sadie Hawkins dance.
Yeah.
Not the actual dance. Just if you mention Sadie Hawkins, then the ghost can appear, apparently.
Well, the ghost put an old flyer for the Sadie Hawkins dance in Buffy's pocket. And she opens it up and she's like, "What's this?" And that's when she hears, "I need you." And at that point, she becomes possessed. She starts zombie walking back to the WASP school.
And she must live around the corner from the school.
Yeah.
She walked all the way back. And in the time that she went to the kitchen and the time that Willow finds that she's gone back to the school, how does she walk all the way back there before they figure out Buffy's missing? But whatever.
Yeah. I mean, so they realize that Buffy went back. Mm-hmm. Then they are all like, fuck, we got to go back to the school. They all go back to the school. They're outside. And they're like, well, Buffy's pretty safe because nobody else is in the school right now. The ghost needs someone else in there to reenact the scene. And there's no males in there.
Didn't Giles say that?
Yeah.
How he for the longest time, he thought it was Jenny. And now all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I know exactly what's happening and why it's happening."
Yeah.
And did he
I mean, I guess that we didn't see the off-screen like debriefing of everything. Like maybe
no. Okay.
But like also the janitor might be like they might have hired a new janitor. Like how do you know that no one's in there?
No, it doesn't have to be anyone in there because guess what? Someone was grabbing Willow and pulling her into hell. There were snakes.
The snakes.
The school is covered in these wasps.
And Giles is like, she'll be fine unless she's allergic to wasps.
Yeah, I'm like, why is your only worry is that like a magic gun will kill her? Like he's like, oh, that's the only. It's such a random leap of logic that he takes right here. And then I thought when he said this, I was like, oh, which one of the two guys is going to go in there? Is it going to be Giles or is it going to be Xander? And I was like, Xander's going to go in there and play the role of the guy, and this is going to be really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Instead, what we get is Angelus is in the school with Buffy. And Buffy, you know, Angel's looking at her like, "Oh, you're all alone here in the school." Buffy turns around. She's bawling her eyes out. And then she starts to reenact the scene from earlier with as James this time. Mm-hmm. And she starts to do this. And Angel, like the first like 15 seconds, like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He's like, "Why are you talking like this?" Like, he's still like, "Listen here, Buffy, like, you know, that shit doesn't work." And then the only way that we know that Angel then gets possessed by a ghost. Oh, Angel is on this whole speech about how wasps aren't attracted to vampires because they don't have blood or something. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Seems like I'm pretty safe in here." And Buffy's doing her James shit. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And then he gets possessed by the ghost. Now, can ghosts possess vampires?
God, I did not want this to be a long podcast, but it is.
I thought it was going to be a short one, but like...
because, okay, so I do like the idea that they decided to switch the roles.
I did like
that,
this
like,
too.
Buffy is the guy, the male character, and Angel's the female character, or the teacher or whatever. I thought this was an interesting swap.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the ghost decided it could do that. Here's the thing. I guess ghosts can inhabit vampires because we've seen the demon that Giles had inhabit Angel. That's how they ended that one. When Miss Callender had that demon in her body.
Yeah.
And then they had the demon go into Angel.
But the whole point of that thing was that Angel's
other demon was
spirit
fighting. Yeah.
was stronger than that demon.
Yeah, but this isn't a demon. This is a ghost. So, but the precedent has been established that ghostly things can happen to that. That's my bigger issue with this is if it wasn't Angel there is no way to solve this problem.
Yeah.
Angel's existence is the only way they would have ever stopped this ghost.
Also, what's Angel doing there anyway? Did he
Angel's there because of what Drusilla had said about it's closing in.
Oh, you're right.
But I have no idea why he went directly to the school that's covered with wasps and said, oh, I guess I'll just sneak into here.
I guess if you're a vampire and you see a school covered in wasps, you might be like, wow, some wacky shit's going on in there. Let me go see what's up with this.
But 17 girls chasing after Xander, you're like, back off.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, God. Werewolf shows up, back off.
Yeah.
So then they reenact this again. I thought that this was actually pretty fun and interesting where Angel's crying and being the lady and Buffy's crying and being the dude. And then it's cutting back and forth between the actual scene that happened in the 1950s and Angel and Buffy.
I was so tired of seeing this scene for the 5th time though.
I did love the cut where the 1955 version, James says, "Don't walk away from me." Cut to Buffy, bitch.
They were like, we're getting that line out in there again, and we're definitely having you say this.
They're like, we cannot wait for Buffy to call Angel a bitch.
Yeah, because she gets called a bitch a lot by Spike. Spike always refers to Buffy as a bitch.
Mm-hmm. Then Buffy shoots Angel. Angel falls off the balcony.
He makes the lightest little thud ever.
Yeah. Then we see, this is when we see that it was all kind of an accident. Quote unquote accident.
Didn't mean to pull the trigger, but probably would have pulled the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for me, it's not enough. You have a gun. When you pull a gun out, you came prepared to shoot.
Yeah.
You don't bring a gun to an argument like that.
So now Buffy is reenacting the second part where James is about to go kill himself in the music room. But before all that, Angel wakes up, saves Buffy from killing herself, and he's still the lady, and she forgives James for accidentally killing him, and then they have a ghost kiss.
So I gotta break this down. This is so dumb. So this ghost accidentally shot his teacher lover, and was so tormented by this. All they wanted was for that teacher to come back and just say, "No, you were right. I did always love you." And he's like, "That's all I wanted to hear. That's all you had to say. I wish I didn't have to bring a gun for you to say that." And then they make out is this supposed to be some happy ending?
Yeah. Well, I also was like, is this the only way that they could have made this forgiveness happen? Is if you shoot an undead vampire,
right?
And then he just happens to wake up and he's like, "Oh, I'm not dead. Oh, I reenacted the scene, but I didn't bodily die.
Yeah.
So now I can go up and forgive." How the fuck is this supposed to work?
Yeah, it's if she wasn't in a relationship with a vampire, they would have just been, okay, you shot Giles, you shot yourself, bring on it. It would have just been this endless cycle of, because everyone getting shot would have fallen off the thing and died.
Yeah.
And it's just now picture this. Picture it's not Angel. Picture this is really that teacher that got shot and fell off, right? You think her first thing gonna do after getting shot and falling off is walk in and say, "Hey, I forgive you"? No way.
Yeah.
No way. If you're a girl and some guy shoots you, you get up and you go you know what? You make a good point. Like, it's the most... I don't get it. I really don't get it. I know they wanted to have Angel and Buffy together. But
well, I think that what the point they were trying to do is like James is stuck in hell and reenacting his worst moment or whatever.
I get that. That's fine.
But he needed that forgiveness. But the only way for this to ever work is if she shot a vampire. Like, there's no, like, he would have been in this endless loop.
Yeah, there's no other out. Normally, Giles just looks in the book, finds a spell, and just figure it out. Like, this one is like, okay, we need you to accidentally shoot someone that can come back to life. And I guess that's why they wanted Buffy. But, like, it's no way the ghost knew that a vampire guy was going to show up.
Well, Buffy's like convinced that the ghost wanted to possess her because they're both so sad about their breakups. Like, they understand each other. Like, isn't there anybody else that just went through a breakup?
And their breakups are nowhere near the same level.
No, they don't. They're not a 1-for-1 at all.
like maybe that teacher took his virginity, but that's about it. Like, she didn't start murdering you and trolling you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And then, like, does this ghost go to heaven now?
It looks like it.
Like, what the hell? Like,
yeah. So, like, as Angel and Buffy are sharing this passionate kiss, you see, like, the spirits release from their body, and then they all turn this, like, sparkly galaxy thing that's floating above them.
And I'm like, so that dead teacher, I guess we don't care about her.
No.
Like, it's all about this guy who brought the gun to school. Yeah. I guess he's the hero. He just misunderstood. God,
the school shooter.
Yeah, I just hated the messaging of that. And it's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, wait, are we supposed to forgive Angel too? Because it's kind of leading to that.
That's what I was like. What's going?
Like, they're making out, and then she's like, they like snap out of it when the ghost spirit goes up to heaven somehow, and she's like, "What, Angel?" And he's like, "Oh," and he pushes Buffy and runs off, and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what? Like, this whole forgiveness allegory thing. I'm like, it's no way Buffy should forgive Angel.
Yeah, no. I mean, but then she's like, after he pushes her, she's left sitting on this desk for like a good 20, 30 seconds just looking pouty.
Yeah, it's like, oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I do not like the messaging that this episode is giving.
I gotta ask you, because I noticed this. I don't know if you noticed this. Mm-hmm. But as they're pulling away from kissing each other, there's like a bridge of spit between both of their lips. And I saw that and I was like, oh my God, that's so... You know, I realized that happens when you're making out with...
Yeah. And not every time you're making out, you're not being filmed with...
Yeah. But seeing it was like, ew.
It's kind of like not another teen movie when they're making fun of Cruel Intentions. The makeout is so like slobbery. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So the ghosts go to heaven. Angel pushes Buffy. She's all sad about it. The gang's back at the library. Giles is checking on Buffy. He's like, "You all right?" And she's like, "Well, I guess that I really did need to forgive the ghost or whatever."
Oh, man, I mean, this is worse than like victim blaming. It's like,
assaulter championing.
Yeah, perpetrator excusing. Meanwhile, Buffy's being dragged to the principal's office for even touching the guy with the gun.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you save this girl from being shot? Like,
so fucking stupid, dude. And then we cut to Angel, and Angel's at his garden apartment, and he's just like vehemently washing himself off, and he's like, oh God. Spike's like, "What's going on, man?"
Spike has a great line. He's like, "Normally you're done exfoliating when you see blood."
Yeah.
He's been scrubbing himself.
And Angel's like, "You don't understand. I was possessed by a ghost, and I don't know when it's done, and it's so stupid, and I hate this."
He says I was violated, as if he was raped by love.
Yeah. And then he's like, "You don't understand. This is all bullshit. I don't feel myself. I need to go have a violent, awful kill right now. And Drusilla's like, let's go find a toddler to kill. And
I'm like, let's not forgive Angel.
Yeah.
They're talking about killing babies now.
So then Angel's like, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Let's go. And Spike's like, you want me to come along? And then Angel's like, no, we don't need any dead weight. You stick, I know that you're hell on wheels, but we don't need any dead weight.
There's so many wheelchair puns.
I know.
So many.
And Spike's looking at him like, okay, all right. And then Angel taunts him like one more time. And Spike's sitting there. He's like, okay, all right. Yeah, I'll take this. And then so Angel and Drusilla leave. And it's Angel, like the last line that he says to Spike is like, maybe when you're feeling better, you can come along with us. So then Angel and Drusilla leave. And Spike's like, oh, that might be sooner than you think. And he stands up from the wheelchair, kicks it. There's no way that if he actually did kick it, he would have been standing by the end of this, like, because he's still within the wheelchair. Mm-hmm. But he kicks that wheelchair so fucking hard, and he looks up to where Angel was just running away with Drusilla. And that's the end of the episode. I was like, fuck yeah, Spike's back in business, baby. I knew that this was going to happen, and I could not wait for that moment to happen.
I knew he was standing up as soon as they walked out. Like, I knew he was going to stand up probably at the end of this episode when they were going heavy. And I was like, dude, he's still in a wheelchair? He's a vampire.
Yeah.
Like, some church fell on him. He's fine.
Yeah,
like,
right?
Like, I'm like, don't they have healing powers? Like, he's been in a wheelchair for so long.
I know. He's been in it this whole season.
No, at the beginning he was. He just came in this season. This is the first season he's been here. Like at least like 8, like most of the season. Too much of like Spike has been in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
they introduced him. They threw him in a wheelchair. It's fine. I know he lasts. He does more stuff, but I was like, it's time for him to get up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the episode for I Only Have Eyes for You. Have any last thoughts here, Vance?
No, I just didn't. I was thinking like earlier when we were talking about it, I was like, man, I really don't like this episode. And there's been some that we talk about that we don't like. But this one just felt all over the place. I thought the Jenny stuff was weird, that they just shoehorned that in. They kind of, I don't know, I don't understand what they're trying to do with the Angel tie-in with this like awful scene that happened. Like there's no like gray area in that scene of a student shooting a teacher that the teacher was sleeping with. I'm like, I know they're trying to make it tie up with like Angel and Buffy, but like what Angel and Buffy had is so different.
Yeah.
And everyone is all against Buffy. That scene just infuriated me. Buffy, forgive the ghost. We're all hiding in my house because the ghost was attacking us. Yeah. And they're all like, we got to forgive him.
Yeah.
Like, it was just choke slamming Xander in the locker. And now he's like, I want to forgive.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Cordelia breaks his heart and he wants to like do witchcraft. So,
yeah. Snake bites Cordelia in the face.
Yeah.
Drags Willow to hell. They're like, we gotta forget.
And Willow was like freaking out when she was dragged down to hell. Like, and now she's like, Buffy, forgive.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like, I don't know. It's just like they tried something. I didn't think it worked.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So that is it. Thank you for listening, everybody. If you like this podcast, please rate and review Apple Podcasts and all that stuff. Spotify, subscribe. We have an Instagram at Boys Watching Buffy if you want to write in. You got several options now. You got the Instagram DMs. You got email, boyswatchingbuffy@gmail.com. We have Discord. That's been pretty jumping lately. We're just getting
active. Started. We're just getting started. Definitely come on and give us some of your thoughts on this episode.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way we do?
Yeah.
Are you team James or team Buffy?
Yeah, that's that. Next episode, Vance, is titled Go Fish. What do you reckon is going on there?
Go Fish. I feel like we're getting I did see ahead that I feel like the season ends with a 2-parter.
Oh, really?
I think there's a part 1 and a part 2 of something. I didn't see the titles of them. But I think this might be the last episode before we get into like the real, like, have to close up the season stuff.
Okay. That's exciting.
So I'll go out on a limb and say it's going to be some type of aquatic monster.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's like a dad that went on a fishing trip with his son, and then that leads to demonic activity or something.
Yeah, and my backup will be that Giles loses in a card game, a high-stakes card game. Go fish.
He loses the rose quartz that Jenny gave him.
Yeah.
That Willow gave.
Oh, that rose quartz looks pretty good. Why don't you wager that? But Jenny gave it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is that, everybody. Thank you for listening once again, and stay tuned next time for when we talk about Go Fish.
Over-identify much?
Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.